Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ultimate cars of the 1990s. This is a Porsche 911 Turbo, and this is a Ferrari 512TR. They both come to me from the JM Legend Auto Group in the New York area, where they're both for sale. And today I'm going to find out which is better. Right here I have the Sledgehammer. This is a 1993 Ferrari 512TR, and it is the showiest, most crazy looking, most extravagant Ferrari of the 1990s.
Offered from 1992 to 1995, the 512TR was a direct answer to the Lamborghini Countach and Diablo and the successor to the famous Testarossa. Back in 1993, it started around $195,000, more than $300,000 today. It had 420 horsepower, it did 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, and I mean, just look at it. Those crazy door strakes, those enormous rear fenders, the hilariously wide overall design. This car just means business.
Right here I have the Precision Drill. This is a 1997 Porsche 911 Turbo, and it answers the question of speed a little bit differently than the 512TR.
It may look like a regular 911 to you, but well, it isn't. And that's the trick of this 911 Turbo from Porsche's beloved 993 era. The regular 911 of this era had about 280 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, and subdued styling. The Turbo turned that up to 400 horsepower and added all-wheel drive, a fixed rear wing, and flared fenders. It could hit 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds, and pricing started at $106,000 with shipping, about $160,000 today.
Back in the 1990s, these were two of the coolest cars you could buy, but that was 20 years ago. What are these things like to drive today? Today, I'm going to show you around both of these cars. I'm going to show you all of their interesting features, and I'm going to do a little bit of a comparing and contrasting of Porsche versus Ferrari. And then I'm going to take them out on the road. I'm going to tell you what they're like to drive, and when I come back, I'm going to tell you which one of these I would rather have. And to find out more of what I think, click the link below to read more of my thoughts on autotrader.com/oversteer.
The moment you climb inside the 911, you realize just how ridiculously functional and amazingly well built it is. Actually, it happens before you even climb inside when you hear that wonderful old 911 door latch sound. And you're still not inside when you discover the door armrest is also a storage pocket. So much function. In back, there are no tricks to hiding the rear wiper. It's just stuck on there so it can wipe the rear window. It's not pretty, but it's functional. The gauges are tremendously simple, and so's the dashboard. No weird tricks or new technology or cool for the sake of being cool. Everything is functional. In the center, there are 6 buttons, all very clearly labeled. The mirror controls are right up by the mirrors, exactly where you'd expect them to be. The parking brake is a parking brake. The steering column stalks are steering column stalks, and the steering wheel is a steering wheel. There are even little headlight washers to clean off the headlights. This car is a model of function over form.
Maybe the only unexpected quirk in this interior is the glove box. There is one, and to open it, you don't push anything or pull a latch, you twist this, and it opens. Folks, when the way you twist open the glove box is the biggest quirk you have, well, then face it, you're not quirky. The 512TR, on the other hand, we'll start with an obvious one, the door latch. The 911 has a regular old everyday door latch, like every other car. This thing, do you see a door latch here? No, you don't. That's because Ferrari has hidden it inside the 80s style side strakes. You gotta know where the latch is before you can even get in the car. And once the door is open, the side strakes just sit there looking insane, and it looks like the door has a hole in it. What the hell is that? Now, once you get inside the 512TR, things don't instantly get more rational or sensible. Now, I don't want to go too in-depth here because I have a full review and tour of one of these coming up in the next few weeks, but to keep the comparison going with the Porsche, this car is about as different from the Porsche on the inside as it is on the outside. We'll start before you even get in when you notice that the parking brake is inexplicably placed to the left of the driver's seat on the floor. The hood latch and trunk latch aren't labeled. Instead, they just have the Ferrari horse on them. You want to get in the trunk? Ferrari! Inside, the 512TR has power mirrors and power windows. That's great, but it doesn't have a radio. And speaking of the middle of the car, where you'd expect to find the climate controls, you instead get gauges. Oh, and speaking of those middle gauges, you can loudly hear the clock ticking even when the car is off. In the center control stack, the buttons are cryptically labeled and they're all bizarrely different sizes and shapes. I still have no idea what this means, and I definitely don't know what this does. I'm also not sure what this little red thing is or this little white light. Those are secrets lost to Italy.
But the most interesting thing is the climate controls. Push one button and another rises up, like Ferrari's version of a center console whack-a-mole game. Further down, this is the hazard lights, this is the cigarette lighter, and this, of course, is the ashtray. I'm not sure why it's a different color from everything else, but it is. And this, I don't know what this does. Does it open a file folder?
Under the steering wheel, there is virtually no knee room for any human being. I rarely have trouble fitting into cars, but I don't know that I really fit into this one. The door latch sound isn't exactly as precise as the Porsche's either. Two other interesting details. The Porsche has a horn, just like a normal car. The Ferrari has... How do you take that seriously? Another interesting thing about the Ferrari, remember how the Porsche had normal headlights and those cool headlight washers that just prove Porsche had thought of everything? Well, Ferrari also has a unique touch with its headlights. That's right, nothing says I'm being sold in the 90s, but I came from the 80s, quite like pop-up headlights.
Simply put, the Porsche is logical, brilliant, and functional. The Ferrari is an odd hodgepodge of Italian strangeness. But now it's time for the most important comparison.
Here goes. Let's see what it's like. I've driven regular 993s before, but never the turbo. Oh, I love how these turbocharged Porsches feel. And the thing that's great about it is you jam down the throttle, you're not making a crazy amount of noise, you're not crashing a crazy amount of tension, but you're flipping out inside the car. This car feels so stable and so composed and just so engineered. This was the end of the era of 911 that they weren't trying to be a luxury car. They were just trying to engineer the perfect sports car. And this, being the pinnacle model of the 993, the turbo, may be the perfect 993. Brakes are nowhere near as good as they are in a modern 911 turbo. It's almost kind of funny. How is it this fast? In this car though, I get in, I'm expecting it to be fun and cool and analog. I'm not expecting that level of speed. I drove a new 911 very recently, and driving this, the cabin is so much smaller. You're so much closer to the road, or at least you feel you are. The windshield is closer to you. The passenger, I can reach over and touch the passenger mirror if I want. This car comes from a very different era of 911. The interesting thing to me about it is this is a 20-year-old car. I don't hear rattles or squeaks or shakes when I go over bumps. Everything is like perfectly bolted down still, even after 20 years. Oh, that downshift. Oh, yeah. Woo! I haven't driven a 993 in forever, and I forgot why I love this car so much. You don't have a V8 rumble, you don't have a V12 rumble like that thing's gonna, but you have the power. Oh, this car is so fast. Oh my God. Driving a 993, you just kind of feel like you're going home. Even if you've never driven a 993 before. Just the simple clutch, the easy transmission lever to move, the size of this car, how tossable it feels. I even like that weird exploding turbocharger feeling. Nothing has a learning curve. You settle into this car in about 10 minutes, you feel like you're driving something that you've been driving for the last 25 years. Like this car. Oh my God. The steering is unbelievably heavy, but that's nothing compared to the clutch. How is this real? Oh, my leg already hurts. I gotta drive this thing now. Oh, I'm serious. This is the heaviest clutch of any car I've ever driven, period. This is wildly, wildly heavy. Oh. How does anybody drive this at low speeds? Oh, we're moving. I don't have to use the clutch. Oh no, I have to change gear. Oh. In this car, instantly I feel like more of a go-kart kind of thing. I feel the road a lot more. I'm lower, I'm wider. I got this huge expansive windshield. Instantly I feel like, whoa, this is a totally different experience. Oh man, this thing is fast. I kind of thought I would just be annoyed by this car. This is very fast. Yeah, amazing. both feel old and dated and crappy. It doesn't feel like that at all. This thing is seriously, seriously fast. I'm stunned at how much I can actually kind of toss it around. I thought it would feel like an old vintage car and I would have to treat it like it was fragile. This doesn't feel fragile. It feels like, go for it, have fun. Honestly, I think this feels every bit as stable as the 911, which I was absolutely not expecting to say today. Okay, everything I just said about how much I like this car, take it all back, because now I'm stopping in, and oh my God, the clutch! How did they design? Oh God! Oh my God! Between the clutch and the steering, I feel bad for anybody who's ever had to drive one of these at low speed. Oh, the steering! Oh, the clutch! I don't know what hurts more, my arms or my leg. But now we're moving. Woo! Yeah! Listen to that! Oh, the 911 does not have that. Wow! Woo! Drive this car at least 50 times better than I thought it would be. I thought I would be taking extreme caution in a vintage car and I'd be nervous. This thing just feels like a bigger version of a Lotus or an MR2 or something. I can't believe how enjoyable it is. I'm serious. Steering at lower speeds is not fun either. And by lower speeds, I mean 30. This car, more than any I've ever driven, was designed to be going fast. Not only is this not a car for tall people, but this isn't a car for anybody in any proportion. It's just something you have to put up with in order to have this amazing experience. The gear changes are rough. You gotta really pull that lever. You gotta really mash that clutch. But it is a sweet, sweet thing when you're in the right gear in this car. I can't believe how go-karty it feels. This is huge. This car is massive. How does it feel like this? This is great going around these corners. It's hard. I mean, you gotta work. I'm doing work right now. But like, it's rewarding. It's so much fun. The 911 was 3 million times easier to drive than this car. Maybe 5 million times easier if I'm giving it in technical terms. But this car is rewarding in a completely different way. Instead of being just this precision object of speed, this car, it's giant and it's huge and it's ridiculous and you gotta throw it around. Listen to that!
You'll notice I'm no longer standing next to the cars, and that's because I wanted to go home for a few days and really think about this one. You see, I was expecting to love the Porsche, and I did. They're just so precise, and they're so simple, they're so easy to drive, they're so elegant, and they don't attract all that crazy attention. They're just so well engineered. And the 993 Turbo was all of that stuff. But did you see me driving that Ferrari? It was a blast, it was amazing, it was so awesome. And I wasn't expecting to come away from that car as happy and as excited as I was. Before this comparison test started, I would have said the Porsche by a mile. It's just so much more usable, so much easier to drive. The Ferrari is a car you have to kind of plan ahead to take out. It's annoying, it's loud, it's flashy, you're fighting with the clutch, the steering is so heavy, but that Ferrari, I can't stop thinking about how much I love that Ferrari. In the end, the Porsche will make you smile, but the Ferrari will make you giggle. And as much as it pains me to say this, given how much I love Porsches, in this case, I think I'd rather have the Ferrari.